Welcome to Inside Out Insights. I am really happy. We're kicking off our second season with an amazing guest. We have Lane Belone with us. Welcome to the show, Lane.
Thanks for having me, brother.
Welcome. I mean, we're going to learn a lot about leadership, a little about a couple of other things from you. Yeah, I'm just really privileged to have you here because you were introduced to me by our first guest, Stephen Kuhn, and you and him have quite a long-lasting relationship. You two are like brothers, aren't you?
Absolutely, 100%. We
Yeah,
go way
it's
back.
gonna it's going to be good. So we're going to learn about leadership from Lane Belone. Lane, you're a curious explorer, harmonious creator, and emerging storyteller. You're the co-author of Unleash Your Humble Alpha, which you have right here, and co-founder of Have NFT, which is an ecosystem that empowers veterans to connect with each other and their supporters to thrive in a new digital decentralized economy. So yeah, it's really brilliant to have you here once again. Welcome. And for those of you who don't know you, tell us a bit about your background and who you are.
Yeah, so I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma in the U.S. and had a lot of energy and ambition, but didn't have a lot of direction. So my buddy and I, at the end of high school, we were like, okay, what's our next step? And so we ended up playing rock, paper, scissors for our destiny after high school. And so he was like, okay, if I win, we'll go into the military. And then I was like, if I win, we're going to go to college. And so he ended up winning best 2 out of 3. We both joined the military, and then we started on our path in the military. My first duty station was Germany, and I had a really fun time exploring Europe and exploring myself, and a lot of life lessons. And along that process in Europe, I got this itch to better myself in a way. And then I saw this poster, and I was like, "Oh, Special Forces!" Like I had no idea what it was. I was, had no idea, like I wasn't very aware of military cool stuff at the time. And so anyways, I went to the brief and saw a whole bunch of like videos of like special forces guys like falling out of the sky and just shooting guns, blowing stuff up, like doing all the cool stuff that you see like in the coolest GI Joe guys you could ever think of. I was like, well, this is different than what I'm doing now, and that looks really cool, so I want to go try that out. And so I ended up trying it out, ended up making it. It's a whole 2-year process to earn the Green Beret. And after I earned the Green Beret, I got to my unit and started doing missions and training and just did a lot of different things. And so for the next 8 years after that, 2 combat deployments, a special mission to Libya, and a lot of training exercises all throughout Europe. And so gained a lot of different experiences at a very high level. And at the end of all those years, I was like, I feel like there's something more. And my wife and I made a tough decision. It's like, hey, so, do we want to stay in the military and do this military life, or do we want to go do something different? And there was this like strong desire in my heart to do something bigger, doing something different, outside, because the military is great for a lot of different things. And for me, I was like, man, I want to be a little bit more free to do what I want, because it gave me a great opportunity to expand and experience new things and go on adventures and missions and all this kind of stuff. But there was something that was like, I want to be able to dictate my own reality. I want to be able to say exactly where I go and not just be told, hey, here's the mission. And I'm like, oh, that's a really cool place. Like, oh, Finland, that's really cool. I'll go see the Aurora Borealis. I'll sleep under the stars and hear the crackling Aurora Borealis right above me, in a tent or in a sleeping bag. All those experiences were incredible, but like, I want to be able to dictate that more. So anyways, we got out of the military and moved back to the US, and we did this long road trip across America, 3 months. Actually, it was a circle, coast to coast, spanning over 37 states, and just visiting old friends, family, and cool places that we've always wanted to go. And then we moved down to Panama for a year and a half. And so we were in this like very like free, like, let's go explore. Let's see what's out there. And while we were down in Panama, that's where Stephen and I kind of met, not in Panama, but in that time period. And so, him and I meeting as 2 veterans in a veteran entrepreneur group, he actually posted in the group and he said, hey, I just went to this masculine awakening ceremony in Peru, and it was life-changing. And I was like, oh, whoa, that sounds really interesting. And this is 2017 or 18 at the time. And I was like, So I reached out to him. I was like, hey, what's this thing about? I said, oh, it's this. Whenever you head down to Peru, just let me know. I'll link you up with these people. And so, anyways, my wife and I were down in Panama. Our friends had just visited Peru, and we were having lunch with them, and they were telling us about all this stuff like Machu Picchu, Pisac, like the journey to get to Ollantaytambo, like all this really cool stuff. And we were like, okay, we got to do this. We got to go to Peru. Like it's been on our bucket list for years. And while my wife and I were in Europe, we traveled to almost 20 countries together. All across. And so we knew that we loved to travel and explore. And so we're like, okay, let's go to Peru. And so I ended up messaging Steve, and I was like, hey man, who's those people down in Peru that you were talking about? He introduced me, and long story short, he ended up joining us down there, and we had just an incredible experience. Just really got a lot of clarity within ourselves, of course, as we always do, and that's why we always go back to Peru every year. And happy to have you join us this year, Alex. So that's leading up to where Stephen and I met. And if you have any questions about anything of those, or you want to keep going, just let me know.
Yeah, no, I have a lot of questions based on what you said. I mean, whether it's going to be like Peru, your journey. But I mean, the first question from you is about like living from the inside out. What does it mean to you to live from the inside out?
Yeah, so for us, our inner world dictates what the external world looks and feels like. So if we're happy inside, we can go into nearly any situation and have that happiness experienced. So it's all about that perspective, and the perspective is always within. So if we look at ourselves and look at what is within, we're asked, okay, what is the thing that makes me happy? What is the thing that drives me? What is the thing that gives me energy? All these things that can offer us the exact perspective that we need to move forward on our journey. And so when we know who we are, how we interact in the world, and what we do, then we're able to move forward with certainty. And so this is, touched upon the Humble Alpha operating system, that's, from the book. And, so the inside out is just a philosophy of, you can't control the external world, but you can influence who you are, how you see the world, and what you want to do. And then just take imperfect action towards your goals, your dreams, your visions for yourself. And as you take imperfect action, you're going to get the clarity that you need, because Steve and I, we talk to a lot of different people, and we have many different clients. And sometimes we get stuck in a place because we feel like we need more clarity, and here's kind of like the picture that we like to paint, is that like you're in this beautiful outdoor place, and on the horizon, you see this something, and it's incredibly beautiful, but it's blurry. It's like, you can't quite tell out what it is, but it is incredible. It is beautiful, powerful, colorful, magnificent, but it's blurry. So what do? Do you just not move because you don't have enough clarity? No, you take a step forward, you take imperfect action. And as you take those steps, like the blurriness begins to fade away. And then that crisp vision, that clarity that you seek, automatically is brought to you by you just taking imperfect action. And so that's how it works hand in hand, is that the imperfect action brings clarity. And then sometimes we have those pauses, that meditation, those quiet moments, that solitude that offers that incredible clarity. And then that allows us to know what direction that we want to take imperfect action towards.
No, that's quite interesting, especially taking imperfect action. I'm doing that at the moment because I'm going through a bit of a job search and job hunting process. And I'm a recovering perfectionist, I really want to take perfect action. It doesn't exist. But this relates to what we were talking about beforehand. You were saying to me that you are what the moment calls for. You have to trust in yourself, have certainty in you. How can people have certainty in themselves, especially in this world that we're living in right now, where it seems so uncertain, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
world. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So it's about crafting powerful intentions for yourself and trusting those intentions. And so if you seek clarity on who you are, you will automatically attract that, and so we don't want to dive into like the secret or anything like that. But it's about setting powerful intentions and then allowing the imperfect action to work its magic to bring it to you as well. So we don't live in this world where we just sit on a, meditation cushion and just, receive the download, and, and then like everything is brought to you. That's not the world that we live in. There are moments of prayer, intention, meditation, but most of our life is about doing stuff. And it's not about that we have to do to receive, but we're going to do something anyway. So for us, it's about setting powerful intentions of, okay, my intention is to be clear on who I am and how I interact in the world. Okay. And my intention is that life will bring me the answers. And if you just truly trust that, you'll begin to shift your perspective and say, okay, all of those people that have been trying to help me or been giving me these messages that I've been resistant to or have friction towards, like, oh, let me look at it. Like maybe those are the messages that I've been needing to hear, And so that shifts our perspective to say, okay, everything in life is in my favor. And I know this sometimes when you listen to things like this, it's difficult to actually believe it. But where are you at in your life in this moment? And then just take baby steps and witness and feel the feedback from your intention. So if you set the intention that I want to be happy, basically then your mind automatically becomes an ally, and you start to look at ways at how you can have happy moments or reminders of happiness, or like, oh man, today's just a nice sunny day. Like that's nice. And just accepting that and allowing that to be your feedback, or that evidence that, like, okay, things are going my way. And it's, if you start out that little small thing, and then it becomes the bigger thing, and it becomes a bigger thing, and then you can speak very confidently that yes, life is bringing me exactly what I need in this moment, and I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think it's allowing that to happen, like setting the intention and then allowing it to be there. But then it's also about taking action, and there's like so much here in the book, so many like different actions to take. And I just want to focus on a couple now: focus caves and habit stacking. Like having your like focus cave, like again, like shutting out any and all distraction over there. And then like hacking, like habit stacking, just like a bit by bit. I'm a huge proponent of the 5-minute rule. Try something for 5 minutes a day, and then stack based on that. But I mean, what's your experience been with both of those concepts?
Yeah, so focus. So for me, it's about creating a container or creating an environment that is what you absolutely need. So in a world of distraction and notifications and things trying to take you from your mastery, your craft, your skill set, we all can own our presence. We can own our surroundings. We can own our environment to a certain degree. And so the idea behind the focus cave is that you are engineering your surroundings to be exactly what you need to dive in as deep as you need for your work, or as deep as you need for finding solutions or ideas, or attracting epiphanies and insights for either your life or your business. And so the focus cave is a perfect example to engineer your environment, to reset something within yourself. So the point of this is to reset something within yourself, to strengthen your inner guidance, your inner world, your inner thought processes, right? And once you reset what's inside, again, this is the inside out, then I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but the external world has a less impact on how you feel and how you focus and how you concentrate on the inside, because you've basically programmed yourself, reset your defaults within yourself to optimize what you focus on. So as a simple example, many people focus on the negative. On when we hear a story, the mind automatically says, well, that's bad, that's not good, that's a perception, that's a perspective. And because of that, they're training their brain to look for negative. Same thing with positive people, is that, you say, oh man, like today's a wonderful day. Like, oh yeah, today is a wonderful day. Oh, okay. Oh, hey, it's really nice to meet you. oh, you're a nice person. Like let's have a conversation. Or if you're out and about and you're talking to somebody and you just say, hey, wish you a fantastic day for no good reason, just because I just wish you a fantastic day, and that is a default or a like an inner world that we live in. And by taking moments of solitude or these focus caves, you're allowing to reset your default. And so then it doesn't matter as much when you go out, when you feel very strong, you feel very certain about yourself, then the external world has less of an impact. And so you can dictate your reality as you move forward in life.
Yeah, this is all about living from the inside out. Someone said to me that if the reality that you want doesn't exist, then create it. And that's what you're doing, is you're creating your reality, and that's exactly what you've done throughout your entire life. It sounds to me. I mean, let's talk a little bit about the beginning of the book, because Unleash Your Humble Alpha, it begins with this really poignant question: who are you? And you and Stephen said that most men choke on their beer because they can't answer that question. Yeah, but how do we answer that? How do you answer that question? Who are you?
Yeah. So the first part of the first part, the first section of that is you are who you decide.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why we started out with that is because we are empowering you from the very moment of being introduced to the Humble Alpha operating system. The moment you decide who you are with full enthusiasm and full energy, the universe will automatically, in almost this organic algorithm, start to give you that, give you evidence. Or if you need something to prove to yourself that you are this powerful, person that can create their reality, or to make an impact, or to do whatever it is that you feel like you want to do, based on your decision, the universe will give it back to you. And the more powerfully you can decide, the faster that process happens. Time is collapsed. And so in order for that effect to actually happen, you actually have to believe it. And so how do you get to believability? How do you believe you're in yourself? Well, you have to go through a journey, and that's the process of the Humble Alpha operating system, is that um, everything that we arrive to is simple. We set intentions on what we desire for ourselves. We take imperfect action. We create space with others. We invest in relational capital, and we embed quality of life in every step of the process. So life isn't complex, but in order for us to arrive at a simple way of living, oftentimes we have to go through complex detours. We have to go through these little rabbit holes of like, oh, what if this, what is that? And then based on the programming and the, how we're brought up in society, if you ever watched or listened or read of Bruce Lipton's work, he talks about basically the first 7 years is we're in the theta state. We're in the receive, state, to where we are being programmed by our environment, so news, school, parents, friends, organizations, churches, sports, whatever it is. All of that is programming us in the first 7 years. And then after about 7 years, then we go from a theta state to alpha and a beta state. So most of us operate in the beta state. And so what we do as we move forward is that we're unraveling all of those limiting beliefs, this is what you should do in life. This is what you have to do to get to this. This is the only path to get what you want. All these things that we hear, that society tells us, school tells us, our parents sometimes tell us. And so as we move forward, we are unraveling those limiting beliefs, and we realize, oh, wait, I can fully decide who I want to be. I can fully decide my approach and who I want to become. And so the power always lies within you to decide. Now, in order for you to believe that, there's a lot of things that needs to happen. And that's why for us, we have the Humble Alpha community, and we have each other's back, and we help each other see the blind spots that we can't see ourselves. And sometimes you just need, like, hey, brother, sister, like, I hear you. What about this? Or, hey, have you thought about that? It's not about telling anybody where to go or how their journey is going to unfold, but it's just about, from a very sincere and pure place, to say, hey, maybe this is something that you could look at. And then you're like, oh, yeah, I think let me look into that. And so goes the journey.
Yeah. I mean, it's about like having those like guideposts or signposts along the way. And just want to turn it over now to the first question we have in the comments. Anyone watching on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, welcome here, and we welcome your comments. First question is from Christina. She's asking about mindset. What about mindset in business? What is important to be successful, especially when you don't know how to go further? So, touching upon that point of certainty we were speaking about earlier, when you don't have that certainty, yeah, what's important to be successful, especially when you don't know how to go further?
Yeah, so mindset in business is no different than mindset in life. So for us in the Humble Alpha operating system, everything is integrated. So it's about you doing the inner work within yourself, and then how you apply that mindset into anything else in life or business is just a byproduct. So if you know who you are, how you interact in the world, and what you do, when you can answer that, you say, okay, well, what am I going to do in business, or what am I going to do in life? Like, oh, okay, I know who I am. I know how I interact in the world. I know what I want to do. So you're able to answer those questions, and then business basically becomes a kind of a systematic way to amplify your own purpose. And that's part of what the Humble Alpha operating system, that we share, is that you should just only do the things that you like to do, and welcome, ways to grow and expand. But if you're trying to start a business that you don't really like to do, then it's just like you're always going to have that friction. You're always going to have that thing. It's like, oh man, like this is not what I want to do. And sometimes society says that you have to earn your stripes in order for you to get to X, Y, Z success. And that, if you follow that, if you subscribe to that belief, that idea, then you'll succumb to it. But if you say, you know what, I want to move forward with life and business in this way, how that journey unfolds for you is going to be unique to you. There's a lot of people that can help you. And so that's the second part, is that if you know where you want to go, and that's your intention, is to get to arrive to this place or this milestone, because the journey always continues. Our biggest advice is to get help, is to seek help that from somebody that has already been there and done that to a certain degree. Now, it's not about trying to replicate a formula, follow an exact step-by-step process, but it's about to ask them, how did you approach this? How did you arrive to this? If you were in my situation and this is how I want to do this, what would you say to me? And so it's not about, hey, lay out the exact steps I need to do so that way I can take 7 steps and then I'm a successful business owner or whatever. So there's definitely moments where you wish that could happen, because you're like, man, this is like frustrating. You're like, man, it's not coming, it's not coming fast enough, all those kinds of things. But that's the beauty of the journey, is that if you stop focusing on always needing to hit to the next mile marker, the next milestone, in order for you to think that you're successful. And this is why I love Gary Vee, because he talks all the time about the process. And so for me, it's always about, okay, let me enjoy the journey to get where I'm going. I'm going to go somewhere anyway. I'm going to climb a mountain. I'm going to explore a desert. I'm going to follow a river. I'm going to go on a journey. I'm going to go somewhere. But it's not about trying to get to the end of the river. It's not trying to get to the top of the mountain. It's not trying to get to the XYZ in the desert, whatever. It's about you enjoying the process of the journey. And so for me, it's like music. You're not trying to listen to a song to listen to the very end. You're not trying to say, man, I just wait for that very perfect last thing at the end of the song. And anything leading up to that, like, it's just like, whatever. I'm just going to trudge through. I'm just going to listen to it because I got to listen to it. Like, music is a beautiful teacher, to like, and it's a nice analogy for the journey of life, is that there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be fast and slows. There's going to be, lots of instruments and only solo times, so it's this beautiful like journey of like, how can I appreciate this one song and every second of it? And so that's the analogy, is that we're not trying to get to the end of the song. We're not trying to get to the top of the mountain. We're trying to enjoy the journey of where we're going, because we're going to go somewhere anyway. Hope that helped.
Yeah. I really think that helps. That helps a lot with Christina, and I'm sure we're going to hear back from her. I mean, that speaks really to another part of the book, which is about living in the present moment. I mean, so much has already been written about living in the present moment by people like Eckhart Tolle, for example. But how does your definition of living in the present moment and what it's like to be present, like, add to that as such?
Yeah. So the present moment is all we got. Of course, that's what they all say. That's what we all say. Yeah. But it's about understanding the context of what the present moment means for you. And so for me, it's about expanding it from the past and into the present, right? And looking at it to where, okay, I appreciate how my journey got here. You know, the tough times in the military, the tough times in entrepreneurship, the tough times of not having a father, the tough times of not being very confident. All of those experiences, both good and bad and everywhere in between, offered me a wisdom for this present moment. And then on looking at the future, there's a probable future of nearly everything that could happen to me, right? Or I could create for myself. And so I was like, oh, okay, well, I could do that. I could do that. I could do that. Like, oh, that's beautiful that I have all this probable opportunity, you know? And so for me, it's about the context of that, in the timeline or the time experience. And then I look at my surroundings. And so this is a multi-sensory kind of multi-dimensional, context that I'm building here. So I'm looking at this space that I'm in, and I'm in my office, and I have some cool things on the wall. I got some books over here, and all of this stuff has helped me land in this present moment. And as I walk through my house, I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, these are reminders of my previous present moments, and it's reminded me of something that I want to hold onto, for this present moment, or it's going to be there when it's going to be there. And when I walk into the room, so for instance, different rooms in our house offer a different kind of like energy or vibe, so like the front room is got this kind of nice safe place, no TV, able to really have a really intimate conversation, and so the furniture, the plants, all this kind of stuff is engineered for that kind of present moment. And so that is dictating our reality, and so being able to have stuff that reminds us of good things that we want to remember. Music is also another beautiful thing to get us into a certain type of present moment. So present moment is always exactly where we're at. And we can leave breadcrumbs for ourselves in other rooms, in the backyard, in Peru when we go there, so it's about understanding that I can move forward in my journey, always in the present moment. And based on my own internal perspective, I can shift it. I can welcome other people to help me shift it, with different meditation practices, ceremonies, prayers, intentions, whatever the case may be. And so, yeah, for me, the present moment has all of these, things embedded. And how can I be here now, as Ram Dass talks about? Because the more present we are, the more potent our own personal power becomes. And so as we move forward in our life, and we're like, okay, I'm going to be present in this moment, talking to Alex, and we're going to have a really great conversation. And people are going to ask some good questions that are going to be able to allow us to articulate something that somebody really needs to hear today.
Yeah. And we've got another great question that's just come up from David Smith. I think he's asking a question about what's in the book. He's asking, has visualization got a part to play in this program, in this book? Yeah. I mean, tell us a bit more about visualization. Does that have a part to play, or is that not really relevant in this context?
Yeah. So visualization in the traditional sense is definitely part of it, but it's also, for me, it's more of an expanded knowing, right? So a lot of people focus on, the visualization, the mental seeing of something, and that has its power. But again, a lot of people talk about embedding the feeling of what you're seeing. So it's about marrying the two up and to be able to say, okay, this is the probable future that I'm creating, and I'm bringing it into my experience. And so if I need to get in solitude and meditate and get quiet and say, okay, what do I really want? Okay, this is how I'm visualizing my probable future, and I'm painting a picture, I'm feeling it, and then okay, all right, how do I get there? Or what is my next step or two? And then in that state, I'm able to bring forth the right idea, bring forth the right epiphany, or the step that I need to take, and that's the imperfect action. Again, that's how we started. Is that sometimes we need to get in a quiet moment to, okay, what do I really want, or what's the thing that I'm really trying to get after? What's the thing I'm trying to create and co-create with others? Let me get quiet. Let me allow my inner guidance, my heart to reveal an answer, and so once I feel that, not only see it but feel it, I'm aligning those two, or aligning those two, and then now I welcome what is the next step, and that's where the imperfect action comes forth, and then these are congruent activities to where, as I'm taking imperfect action, boom, another thing comes when I'm not trying to meditate, when I'm not trying to be in a quiet moment, that something just happens to where, I get an email or phone call from somebody that, hey man, I could help you out, or like, whoa, you got to check this thing out, or just any kind of way that it can meet you on your path. So visualization is definitely part of it, but it's more of a comprehensive, more integrated than what most people would probably describe as visualization, and from my perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's just one part of it. And there's like so many parts of the Humble Alpha operating system. I mean, there's like so much that we can like dive into. I mean, we've spoken about focus caves, habit stacking. One thing that we haven't spoken about yet is scheduled QOL, scheduled quality of life and recharge. Like you mentioned, it's important to schedule those dates, those times with members of your family, like having that scheduled date night, for example, having that scheduled recharge come in. But like, how do we do that in such a fast-paced world where it's like we've got to keep going, we've got to keep going, we've got to keep working, we've got to stay on that treadmill? I mean, how can we really schedule that in?
Yeah, so in the book we talk about hedonic calendaring, and so basically, if you're a very busy person and live on your calendar or by your calendar, basically you meet yourself where you're at. If you're operating on your calendar, okay, all right, well then bake in some quality of life time. And so if you need to put in your calendar, okay, on Saturday afternoon, I'm going to do X, Y, Z, or Sunday, or so in the book we talk about basically setting daily quality of life in your schedule, 30 minutes a day. And how we're defining quality of life is just being or enjoying the present moment. And so sometimes enjoying the present moment is doing absolutely nothing. Sometimes enjoying the present moment is getting out in nature and like, man, I just need a breath of fresh air, or that I need to listen to some music for 30 minutes, or whatever it is, it's going to help you recharge. It's going to help you restart something within yourself. That's what we're trying to get to, is that a lot of people wait until, the 2-week vacation in the summertime, and then the rest of the year they're just like work, and they're not even thinking about vacation. They're just trying to work so hard so that way they can take two weeks off, and that's an approach to life for sure. Quality of life, hedonic calendaring, is you're embedding every single day something that you really enjoy doing, and if you can, insert it in the morning, afternoon, and evening. And sometimes it means that you're doing some kind of activity alone, in solitude, by yourself. Some of these activities is like, oh, you know what? I just really love bowling. I don't know why. And I got a good buddy that likes bowling, and we go every week. So every day, every week, embed some kind of quality of life activity. Every month, and we talk about it, for the length of time is, maybe every month you do a weekend where maybe you unplug, maybe you do something that you really want to do. And then every year, you might want to consider going down to Peru, with some fellow Humble Alphas and restart something. But the point is that if you don't focus on quality of life, if you don't put any energy towards it, if you don't embed it into your life, then you're not gonna experience it. And so by us intentionally putting it in our calendar, we allow ourselves to make sure that we do it. And over time, we restart that default. Like, okay, after a while, you're like, well, I'm not going to go a day without doing something fun. I'm not going to go a day without jamming to some music and just like singing like nobody hears me, or I'm not going to go a day without just taking 10 minutes and looking out at the sky and say, man, it's just beautiful, because you know how much it helps you recharge, get back to this peaceful, joyful, happy state. And you're like, well, I'm just not going to do without it, And so you're like, okay, I've just made a decision to live life like this. And after a while, you don't have to, find it in your calendar. It just becomes a part of you. And so that's part of the cycle, or the process of the Humble Life operating system, is that we embody everything that we believe. And so the byproduct of that is that instead of having to think about living a good life, we've embodied it, and we say, okay, I am living my best life, and I don't have to try to think about it. It's just how I set up my life. Now, at the beginning, it can be difficult because you're thinking about like, okay, how do I set up the perfect life? I got to set up the perfect, intentions. I got to, of course, thinking perfect, all you got to do is start with the best of what you got, write the best intentions, and start living by them. Having it go from just like it being a thought to like, oh, I'm thinking about, having quality of life. I'm thinking about being successful. I'm thinking about being a winner in life. And then you just move forward, taking imperfect action, and then you just embody it. And then you don't have to think about being a winner. You just are. You don't have to think about being happy. You just are. You don't have to think about being successful. You just are. And then so as you move forward in your journey, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool,
Yeah, that's pretty sweet, and that's something that I embody in my life. Is I think first of all, start where you are. That's what I did, and I just said I'm going to go for an hour walk in the forest every day. And that's it. No one's going to take that away from me. It's scheduled in my calendar. If I have to do it during my workday, fine. I'm going to take that hour out. I'm taking the whole month of May out, not just to go to Peru, but I've decided I'm also going to go to Ecuador as well. So spend time on a retreat with you in Peru. And before we ask more about Peru, I just want to shout out again to the people on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. Feel free to write a comment. We've still got time for one more audience question. But let's talk about Peru. What's going to happen in Peru? Because I think there's still one spot left. Is that right?
Yeah, one spot. Yeah. So, Peru, Stephen and I, we take entrepreneurs, veterans, and people that are looking to expand and grow their path. We go down to Peru, and we really look at your story. And that's what this year's theme is about, is that for your entire life, you've been writing a story for yourself. A story of good times, a story of bad times, a story of challenge, a story of triumph, a story to where it just makes you feel like this is my story. And sometimes part of your story, you're like, man, there's got to be a better story. there's got to be something better out there for me. And it's those low moments, or those moments of like, man, I know I'm not reaching my full potential. I know I could write something more powerful for myself. I just don't know how. Maybe I mentally know it here, but I don't really actually fully believe it. And so Peru is about really shedding whatever limiting belief that you have about you deciding who you want to become, what kind of story that you want to tell, and what kind of legacy you want to leave behind, and what kind of impact that you want to make in the world. So Peru is an adventure, an experiential journey. We have plant medicine. We have tours. We have exploration, both in the ancient world of the Incan traditions, the sacred plant medicines, the ways in which we bond together as a group of people that are all trying to better themselves and write a more powerful story. So Peru is a lot of different things, but for us, it's this beautiful time to where we can let go of regular society for about 10 days. And we can just let the world be exactly what it's going to be. We get into this very special place and we look ourselves in the mirror. We ask ourselves the tough questions. We get embraced by people that care about us and that say, you know what, let me do exactly what I need to do because I know I have the power to do it. And realizing that to such a deep part of you that you may not have ever experienced before. So yeah, Peru is a lot of different things. It's also a really good time. We have a lot of good laughs. We bond together for every journey that we go, every tour that we have. It's just like we're bonded at a very special way, and we have each other's back. So it's a really beautiful experience. And yeah, we have one more slot left. It's in May. We'll post a link if you guys are interested. Yeah, really excited, to have you join us this year and write a really cool, powerful, beautiful story.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I mean, I'm going to post a link to the Peru trip in the chat so that people can, if anyone is interested in it, then they can take a look at that. The final thing, before we wrap up the interview, if there's no more questions from the audience, is about the Have NFT. Have NFT. Tell us a bit about that. Like, how is it going to connect entrepreneurs, veterans? Like, how is it really going to create and connect this ecosystem that you and Stephen are looking to build?
Yeah. So the second time Stephen and I went to Peru, we basically created the Humble Alpha, and then the third time we went, we created the Humble Alpha Veteran Empowerment. And so what happened in between those different journeys or those times that we went to Peru is we were doing a lot of veteran entrepreneurship, veteran healing, and helping veterans in a lot of different ways. So there was a veteran empowerment aspect to us, and then there was the Humble Alpha aspect of all the stuff that we've been talking about. And it was last time we were in Peru, about a year ago, we came up with the Humble Alpha Veteran Empowerment. And let's put it all together under one roof. No, that makes sense. And so literally so Stephen had the Have download, and so we started talking about it. And then it was the last day, or the day before the last day, and we were like, hey, we got to lock it. We got to lock this thing in. And speaking about intentions, how powerful they are, we're like, okay, we gotta share this vision. We got to share this intention with the world. And so we have the Mountain House, which is our brothers and sisters of the Mybergs in Peru. It's just on this beautiful, just awesome compound. And about 15 seconds, 30-second walk, you have all these different ancient sites: Temple of the Moon, Temple of the Frog, Temple of the Monkey, San Pedro Temple. A lot of these different, very sacred, powerful sites. And so we take a walk. We're like, okay, we're just going to record a video. Like, oh, where are we going to go? Okay, oh, let's go there. So him and I, we just sat down. We had the phone camera and a tripod, and we're like, okay, what are we going to say? Like, I don't know. Let's just speak from our heart. And so we hit record. And then we're like, for 18 minutes, we just talked about our intentions for what Humble Alpha Veteran Empowerment is going to be. And basically allowing it to be an entire ecosystem to empower veterans to become their best selves, to rewrite their story after service, to be able to find peace again and find purpose. Because a lot of veterans, succumb to PTSD, other forms of trauma, depression. And because of that, it's very difficult sometimes to be able to find the help that they need, right? And so our ecosystem is all about finding a simple path of healing and purpose for veterans. And so how we do that is that we marry it up with the business side, which is the NFT side. And so we have been doing this veteran empowerment stuff for several years. And then basically the universe gave us an opportunity and said, okay, well, here's a way to expand it. And that's exactly what Have NFT is all about, to where we're taking in digital challenge coins to be able to bring back that community and that camaraderie that we felt in service, and then allow simultaneously the funds that we create by selling these digital challenge coins to fund Have missions, to fund veteran healing, to bring and consolidate the different nonprofit or veteran nonprofit partners that we have. And so basically our aim is to have 100 nonprofits part of our ecosystem. So that way, any veteran that is dealing with different types of things, we have a nonprofit organization that can support them. Service dogs, equine therapy, meditation, counseling, uh, Spartan races, all these different things that if you're a veteran and you need some support, we have a nonprofit there. So and as we move forward, we're going to be able to document all of these different healing modalities in the blockchain and say, okay, there's been hundreds of veterans that have used breath work and have significantly increased their quality of life. And we're going to be able to put this stuff on the blockchain, so that way we have irrefutable evidence, and over the long term, we'll be able to use this information and to showcase it to say, okay, maybe prescription pills isn't the way to go about to helping our veterans. They spend billions and billions and billions of dollars, just throwing pills at veterans, and veterans are like, hey, this isn't working anymore. Like, this probably never worked, but we're realizing it because we have all of our friends. We have so many friends that are, succumbing to even more depression because of pills. And so these different healing modalities offer us a way to support veterans on the healing path. And then once veterans and veteran supporters are feeling, pretty good about life, they're able to then be a beacon within their community and to support in other ways in which they can be of service. And so that really fulfills that service aspect that they had in the service, the military. And they're like, okay, yeah, let me be a shining light, and so that's Humble Alpha Veteran Empowerment is all about all that stuff. So,
Yes.
so our, basically our ask is that whatever aligns with you individually, that's how you can help support what Humble Alpha Veteran Empowerment is all about. So if you're a healer, or if you have a nonprofit organization that supports veterans, or if you're an investor, or if you're a veteran business owner, or if you're a business owner that is not a veteran but wants to support veterans, there's opportunities for all these different types of people that want to support this ecosystem. So, our advice is to follow the Humble Alpha operating system, know who you are, how you interact in the world, and what you want to do. And when you have that clear about yourself, then you're going to be like, okay, I know exactly how I can help and support Humble Alpha Veteran Empowerment.
Yeah, that's a pretty awesome mission. I love it. And it's been an amazing interview. Just wondering if you have any parting words at all in the final minute or so.
I would say if someone's been listening to this, interview, this podcast, what was the thing that hit you the most, that you were like, that's what I needed to hear today? I ask you to dive into that for the next couple days and ask yourself, why did that hit me so hard? Or why did that message just like, man, that's what I really needed to hear? And just dive into that and really say, okay, let me explore that aspect of myself. Why did that jump out to me? What do I have to learn from it? And how can I use that wisdom to really get what I want in life? How can I decide to become the best version of myself? How can I decide to enjoy the present moment? How can I decide to enjoy the unfolding journey? And just focus on that, both in the, quiet moments, and also, the kind of playful, contemplative, I'm just taking a walk kind of moment, So that's what I would say is for anybody that's, listened or watched this whole thing.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty cool. And I hope that everyone watching and listening to this has gotten a lot out of it. Lane, I just want to thank you once again for taking part in the show. We'll see you in 2 weeks, everyone.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, really appreciate you.
Take care.